In this session, I want us to explore valued action. These are actions, behaviours that we can engage in, things that we can do that help us live out our values, live out our sense of purpose and meaning in the world. So far, we've looked at what those values are for us, what our sense of purpose and meaning is in the world, what our values are. We've looked at the difficult thoughts and feelings that we may inevitably experience along the way. We've looked at avoidant behaviours, things we're tempted to do to distract us from our difficult thoughts and feelings, but that may not be very good for us in the long run. And now I want to explore what we can actually do. Even though we are experiencing difficult thoughts and feelings, even though we are experiencing the challenges of this rich and diverse world that we live in, what can we actually do to help us live out our values in the world? Now, when we talked about values, we talked about the difference between values and goals. Goals are things that we can achieve, we can tick them off a list. And values are things that we never fully achieve. They are compasses, they are guiding principles that point us in the right direction. Now is the time to start thinking about goals. What can we do now in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term that help us live out our values? If we value being healthy, how might we exercise our bodies? How might we eat healthy food? How might we do things that are good for our psychological health and mental well-being as well? If we value our families and being there for them and for our friends, what can we actually do to be there for our families, make contact with our friends, listen to them, love them, extend kindness and compassion to them? If we value kindness and compassion, how can we be kind and compassionate in our context to those around us here, physically or virtually? If we value our faith, how can we put that into action through prayer, through studying scripture, through engaging in fellowship and communion? What can we do to help us live out our values, even though we are experiencing difficult thoughts and feelings along the way? Now we see Jesus engaging in all kinds of valued actions. Yes, he experienced the difficult thoughts and feelings, the temptations from the devil, the pain of losing a friend in Lazarus. We see him experiencing those challenges, and yet we see him also driven by compassion to extend a hand to touch the leper and to heal the sick. We see him guided by his values of bringing life in all its fullness to the world. We see him guided by his desire to preach good news to the poor, to proclaim freedom to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind. We see him guided by his value of giving his life as a ransom for many. And he's prepared to put that into practice through his behaviour, even though he experiences difficulty along the way, the challenge of difficult thoughts and feelings, the consequences of rattling the authorities at the time, who end up even arresting him and crucifying him. So our challenge in this session is to pause again, to take some more deep breaths, to be present, and to notice our values again, and think about what we can do to put those values into practice through our actions and behaviour in this world. When we are aware of that, next time we're experiencing our difficult thoughts and feelings, we don't know what to do, we're tempted to engage in avoidant behaviour, we can choose to engage in valued action instead. We can live out our meaning, our purpose, our sense of vocation. So may God give us grace and wisdom and insight as we reflect on what we can do to live out our values in this world.